Hey, kindergartners. We've been working this week about perspective. We've been talking about our five senses, and we've been looking at perspective, which is our viewpoint or the way we see the world around us. And today is our very last lesson about our five senses. And we're going to continue talking about how life might be different if our senses are differently abled. Now, in our last lesson, we learned about how some people, they don't have all five of their senses. Maybe one of their senses is a little bit weak. And we read that story about people who are blind or people who can't see perfectly clear and how their life is affected by that. Today, I want to ask you, what happens when our senses, they overwhelm us? So what that word means, overwhelm, it means what happens when our senses are just like a lot for us to take in, or when maybe it's when something's too bright for your eyes, or too loud for your ears, or too if it makes your nose even sneeze a little bit because it's too strong of a smell or too strong of a taste. Or some people can feel overwhelmed with their sense of touch, like maybe they don't always like to be hugged or like to be touched. So right now, I want you to pause this video and you are going to be thinking about what happens when your senses overwhelm you. Have you ever had a time in your life where something was just too bright for you, or something was just too loud for you, or something was too smelly or too stinky or just too strong of a smell for you, too strong of a taste for you? Or a time you were overwhelmed with your sense of touch, like something maybe was maybe like too sharp for you, or a time where you didn't really like want to accept a hug or something like that. I want you to pause this video, draw a quick picture of a time where you were overwhelmed by your senses. So I hope you had time to think about something that overwhelms your senses. One thing that Mrs. Ferris drew is that sometimes the smoke detector in my house, it will go off when we're cooking and when we forget to open the windows so that some of the heat can get out. The smoke detector goes off and it goes beep, 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 and it's really, really loud on my ears. Let's take a look at some things in the world that sometimes overwhelm our senses. Fire trucks. Has anyone ever heard a fire truck really loudly before? That can overwhelm our senses sometimes because it's super loud. Or a sun, a really bright sun. When we go outside and we don't have sunglasses on, we can't look at it straight on because it'll hurt our eyes. Same thing goes for a flashlight. Sometimes a flashlight can be so bright, we don't want it to burn our eyes or anything. And then we also have a police car. Their sirens are needed in order for them to help keep people safe, but sometimes it's a little bit loud. So today, I'm going to read us a story about some kids who get a little overwhelmed when things are too noisy or too bright. So these are everyday experiences of kids who live with a disorder called autism. And autism is a disorder that kind of affects the way that kids or adults experience the world. Now, it's not a bad thing because people with this disorder, they learn how to live with it, and they learn other ways that they can deal with it, even though their senses sometimes get overwhelmed. So we're going to read a story right now. So this book is called All Kinds of Friends. My Friend Has Autism. It says, just like me. This is Bree. She has autism. Some things are hard for her. In many ways, she is just like us. We play. Fun. It says people with autism aren't all the same. They all have different abilities, just like us. Same thing. We all have different abilities too. Lily flaps her arms. She is excited. Max wears a vest. Why? It makes him feel good. Bright lights upset Lee. We turn some off, and this helps my friend. So sometimes it's helpful to just have very dim lighting. Ron has an aide. She is his helper. She helps him learn. Nice. Mac can be quiet. He doesn't look at my eyes. Noisy rooms bother him. We talk quietly. So I like this page because we can talk about how we can help our friends who have sensory issues by using a whisper voice or turning the lights down. We work together. We use TJ's tablet. His tablet helps him. TJ taps the screen. He uses it to talk. It says, let's play. Cool. So they all play Legos together. We are all different. We are all friends. I really like that story because it teaches us that there's a lot of beauty in being different. We're all different from each other. And just because people aren't always the same doesn't mean that we can't be friends to them or that we can't be kind to them or that we can't try to work with one another to do what helps each other feel better. Just like some people use headphones or they use sensory toys, like things to help them with their sense of touch, or a tablet to communicate, or a weighted vest because it gives them comfort. So I really hope you think about that today, about how awesome our five senses are and how they help us experience the world in different ways.